So this was the one other segment that came out of left field that I really enjoyed on this show was Hangman Page coming out. Being a babyface, you know, he donated what he won in that battle royal to charity or whatever, to Chicago Education Fund. And Swerve Strickland comes out like a heel. And I liked his premise here. His premise was like, dude, you don't even look like you're trying. You look like tubby. Like, look at your stomach here, you know. You look like you've been eating well with that new contract. And he's like, I'm out for your spot, bro. I want to take your spot because you're acting like you don't even want it. And I want it. So I thought this was perfect. I really enjoyed this too, man. Him roasting Hangman Page. And we all know Hangman Page has like depression and, you know, alcoholism issues and stuff. And he got flustered. He was like, oh, I don't need to listen to this. I'm leaving. I'm like, yeah, typical, huh? It's too much for him to handle. Someone's spitting the truth at him. So this, I think, is really good. I mean, for what it is, these guys are not fighting for any title or anything, but I think this is like a solid idea for a feud. If you disagree with me or you agree with me, Robert, do you have any thoughts about this?
So, yes. So I kind of want to rewind back a couple of years, way back when Adam Page was about to fight Kenny Omega for the title. There was a segment that they had. I think it was, I don't remember. I think it was like a contract signing. I remember they were sitting in a table. They were both sitting down in a table. Kenny Omega said something that really stood out to me. He said to Hangman Adam Page, all of this, and when he says this, he means like AEW. All of this was built for you, but you didn't want it or something like that. So something to that effect. And I remember when Kenny Omega said that to Hangman Adam Page, in my mind I was thinking, wait, really? Is this actually true, or is Kenny Omega just making this up to kind of build an angle towards their feud, their upcoming match? I wasn't quite sure. I didn't really believe it because I remember when AEW first started, they had like an elimination tournament style thing that going on that ended up with Hangman Adam Page and Chris Jericho in the finals, and Chris Jericho won and ended up being the first AEW champion. So Chris Jericho was the first champion. And number two, the second point that I want to bring out is that Kenny Omega was always the bigger star over Hangman Adam Page. So it didn't make sense to me that when Kenny said that to him, that, you know, AEW was built for Adam Page to be the guy. But, you know, Adam Page, like, you know, threw it away with basically his problems or his alcoholism, or just didn't want it bad enough. So Swerve's promo, for me, reminded me of that line that Kenny Omega said to Hangman Adam Page all the way back a few years back. So this was kind of like a paraphrasing of what Kenny had already told him. That's what stood out to me. And then, yeah, I thought this was a good segment. Swerve was amazing as usual. I think Swerve's been always been good, and he's just continuing that right here. So I'm kind of intrigued to see where this leads.
Well, I think AEW always try to throw in some facet of real life shootness, if that's a word, yeah, you know, into their show, even if nobody knows what the hell they're talking about. So I'm not surprised if it is true, if all this stuff with Hangman Page is true. Like, I think this is probably realistic, a little realistic.
It probably is, because they're bringing it up again. So it makes sense that maybe there is some truth to it. So. But I just remember way back when Kenny said it, I was like, are you serious? But okay, Swerve said it again, so maybe it is true.
Hey, man, I can relate to that, man. Hangman Page, he's got issues like me.
Yeah.
Vlad, I don't know if you were in love with this segment like I was. What do you think?
No, I wasn't. But I didn't. I'm you know, I'm kind of torn because of the elite guys, like, that are considered elite. I guess I think Hangman is part of that group. He is the one that kind of, when I first started watching AEW, that I was impressed with the most. So I could see something there, but how many times can they go back to the whole, well, he's a drunk and he's depressed and he's got all this.
Well, it's
they've
true.
done this throughout his whole stint. Okay, well, if it's true, you can only go to that well so many times before you're like, well, you know what? Why am I going to root for this depressive drunk? You know, like, he's just not going to do anything anyways. At the end of the day, he's not.
That's insulting, but
Well,
I think, okay.
I mean, how many times can you be a depressive drunk and be like, and just that's the angle they're going with, you know?
the guy has his depression
Okay.
issues, man. He's on meds.
Well, I
Okay,
see
but
where,
is that what you want in your pro wrestler? To be a kind of a badass cowboy, to be this depressive, drunken, stumbling, mumbling type of guy? No, you want him to be a badass, right? So this doesn't work for me in that sense. I mean, and they've gone to it so many times, like the thing when he was doing with the thing with the Young Bucks and Kenny, and he couldn't decide, and then he helped like FTR win a match or something. There was just like all this weird stuff that he's been involved in, and he's always it leads to him being a drunk depressive case, which I understand if that's like his real thing, and if that is his real thing. Of course, that's something. Mental health is a big thing in society, but I'm just saying I don't think that applies to wrestling, like to be like an impactful face. And with Swerve, I mean, I try to like him, but his matches are. I just hate his style so much. I just don't like the style at all that he wrestles. The way he wrestles is too indie for me. And I know there are people that do like him. I'm just not. I don't like his style. I think he's pretty good on the moments where he is good, but I can't really get on board with this feud because of the first people involved.
Well, dude, the thing you were saying about Hangman Page being a depressive case, and that's not what you want your wrestlers to be, but that is like the new age wrestling thing, especially in AEW. Like a lot of these guys are very emotional. It's all about like, oh, you're not my friend.
true.
You know, we were friends, man. How could you do this to me? I thought you were my friend. You know, the old days of the toxic macho masculinity is like kind of over. I think the writers of the show, whoever they are, the bookers, they think the fans are regular people who have regular problems, and they want characters out there that they could relate to.
I disagree that's what you should want to push for in your wrestling. You should push for guys to be
badasses. Well,
yeah.
They just fired the guy who was trying to be a badass in the back, so that's not the thing anymore, man. The thing is about going to a therapist, dealing with your emotions in a healthy way.
Wait, you want to be reminded of this when you watch pro wrestling? No, nobody wants to be thinking about their own problems and having some connection with Adam Page. You said like, oh, Adam Page, he's a drunk, and I drink. Oh, and I get depressed like he does. Well, yeah, sure, but do you want to be thinking about that when you watch when you're watching wrestling? No, you don't want to be thinking about this. Why would you want to be thinking about this?
No, okay. So my response to that is, I think seeing a depressive drunk get a victory, they probably live vicariously through that, wrestler. They see that as they see that person get a win, they also get a win. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just saying. Like,
yeah, I'm with Robert, Vlad. I'm kind of with Robert. I'm not so in hatred of this.
He's the hero to all the alcoholic depressive drugs.
Yeah.
Hey, why not? Why not? If it works.
If he can do it, why can't I do it?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Well, exactly, look, Vlad. You're getting
I'm not going to argue that point. I think it's a fair point. I personally don't like it, but I like I said, it's not that I hate Adam Page, because like I said, when I first started watching AEW, I thought he was the guy that had a lot of good potential, but he's shown nothing of that since for a while now. So I think the criticism that he got from Swerve is probably on point and as a shoot, but the people involved kind of keeps me from like really being invested in this thing. I want to, but I know it's not going to end up being anything that great because, like I said, I mean, I haven't seen anything that great from Swerve and Adam Page in a long time.